Hello, boils and ghouls. This week I watched part 1 of Wednesday season 2. It's been a minute since I've done a video like this, but I love Wednesday. She's practically my spirit animal, so if I'm gonna do it for any show, it's gonna be this. Now, I want to say the guest stars on this show are pretty good this season. One took me by surprise immediately, right off the bat, and that was Haley Joel Osment. I haven't seen him in years. I love that they have him playing a serial killer, and my first thought was, he went from seeing dead people to causing dead people, and I love that. I usually hate when a show gets split up into multiple parts, and Netflix seems like they love to do that nowadays. But for this show, I'm actually okay with it, because it feels like we had a fully complete story by the time part 1 ended. Wednesday Addams, girl detective, solved the case and wrapped that up really nicely, and yet we still have more mystery to solve, like the stalker and whether or not Enid is still in danger. Like, they caught the bird lady. Does that mean Enid is good now? But we also have a Hyde running around on the loose yet again. There's so much going on in part 1. Wednesday has fangirls now, which you know she's gonna hate, and she does. One of which, I don't even remember her name, is invisible, or has the ability to be invisible and generally make a nuisance of herself. But Wednesday is taking advantage of that, which personally I don't agree with. One, because you're kind of exploiting this girl's obsession. Like, she's clearly not okay. And also giving her false hope that you're going to be her friend, which is really mean. But it also tracks for Wednesday. Fits her vibe. But that girl is pushing her luck. She just pops up wherever, whenever. She almost killed Enid, even though she claims that wasn't her intention. But obviously she doesn't care if other people get hurt, as long as she gets Wednesday's attention. So Wednesday should definitely not be encouraging her in any way. Pugsley comes to the school now, which I remember seeing him in the trailer and was amazed by how tall that kid has gotten in the last couple of years. And even Morticia mentions it. She says he shot up like a hemlock, and he did. But I love that we get more Pugsley. We get more of the whole family this season. I think you can't just have Wednesday, you need to have the whole family. Her parents end up staying because of the principal wanting Morticia to head up a fundraiser, and he's played by Steve Buscemi, and I love it. I think he does a great job. He plays the character very well. He tries to relate to the kids, but in reality he's also very manipulative and abusing his authority with Bianca the siren, to whom he is immune, and is using her to get money out of Morticia and her mom. Or not out of Morticia, just her mom, to convince Morticia to get money from her mom for the school. And I don't like that. I don't like that their new principal also sucks and is out here blackmailing students to abuse their powers for monetary gain. It's not right. Poor Bianca. I have a feeling there's going to come a point where Bianca stands up for herself or comes clean to Morticia and says, hey, he's been doing this since you got here, and I was afraid to do anything or say anything about it because he's the principal, but I really don't feel right, because we see on the show Bianca doesn't agree with this whole situation. So I think in part 2 we'll see her maybe feel brave enough to stand up to him or tell Morticia what's happening, because I'm sure Morticia and even Mama would not be okay with that happening. Speaking of Mama, Joanna Lumley is playing her, and I love Joanna Lumley. I grew up watching her on Absolutely Fabulous, and she is the fanciest version of Mama I've ever seen in my life, and I love it. She's a little bit savage. I think maybe a little bit of Wednesday's personality comes from her, and with her also comes Addams family lore, or not Addams family lore, Frump family lore, such as Morticia has a sister, Ophelia. I've never heard of her having a sister before, so I'm very interested to know who Aunt Ophelia is. Hopefully we get to meet her at some point in the show. She was housed in the asylum and I guess is no longer there, but hopefully at some point we do meet her or get to know more about who Ophelia is. There's also animosity between Morticia and Mama, to the point where she calls Morticia out for needing her husband to support her financially. She gives Wednesday the deed to a cemetery, and we actually see her happy Wednesday. She's smiling, she's probably as close to ecstatic as she gets, and Morticia's kind of not thrilled about it, and her mom says, well, at least she won't have to live off her husband, or however exactly she phrases it. And I was like, ooh, oh no. So I'm wondering if this is her point of contention with Morticia. She doesn't agree with her choices. Maybe she feels Morticia has wasted her potential. But at the same time, it's not like the Adamses are struggling. Everybody knows they have a crap ton of money in a hidden room. And apparently Gomez is also a lawyer. At least that's what he tells the sheriff. Is he really? I don't know. If he is, awesome. I would probably hire Gomez Adams as my lawyer if I needed one. Out of all of the characters on the show, Gomez and Morticia, for some reason, and I thought this in season 1, when I watched them, is that they're very kind of awkward. I don't know why. And in season 1, I chalked it up to it's a new show, it's a new cast, they don't really know each other or the characters yet. And that's something you see often in the first season of a lot of shows. But like, the actors who play the kids do a fantastic job. Steve Buscemi, fantastic job. Joanna Lumley, always a fantastic job. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's intentional or what. I don't know. But something about Catherine Zeta-Jones and Luis Guzman just is... It's not an appearance thing. It's not... But something in... I don't know if it's the line delivery or the way they interact with other cast members, or something about it feels different when I watch them versus anyone else on the show. And I asked my dad, because he watched it also, I was like, do they seem weird to you? And he said, oh yeah, absolutely. There's something with them that is just off. I can't put my finger on it, but something with Gomez and Morticia vibes different than the rest of the cast. I still love them. I think they're great. I think they interact individually with the kids. Great. But when they're both on screen together, I don't know what it is, but I love that they're included more. That now it's not just Wednesday, it's also the family. Pugsley's there, causing trouble, bringing dead students back to life, Frankenstein style. And even then, we get a little bit more Tim Burton-y this season, because the way Pugsley learns about this through a story, which we see in the classic Tim Burton stop motion animation style, and I loved that. Because that's what I grew up with, Nightmare Before Christmas. Pugsley brings a zombie back with his electricity powers that he inherited from Uncle Fester. And he makes one friend, and this kid's kind of reluctantly his friend. Which I feel bad, because I don't think Pugsley has ever really had a friend before. But this kid gets roped into his zombie shenanigans. And he's telling Pugsley, this dude's gonna eat brains, man. He's a zombie. He's like, don't call him a zombie, that's derogatory, it's not nice. He's a zombie. He's 100% going to eat brains, okay? He's right. The kid is right. And of course, Slurp, he named him that, which is a terrible name. Also, I'm not surprised he went with a name like that. Of course, the zombie ends up eating brains, because that's what they do. No matter how much Pugsley wanted it to not be the case. And somebody somewhere figures the best place to put this zombie is in the asylum. I don't know why you would put a zombie there, but okay. We get more Uncle Fester this season. Not only new Uncle Fester, but original Uncle Fester, Christopher Lloyd. Although obviously he's not Uncle Fester, Fred Armisen is. But Christopher Lloyd plays a teacher who is a head in a jar, and I love it. Probably made filming really easy for him. He probably just had to sit somewhere and talk, which is my vibe, honestly. But I love it. I love that he's there. I love that he's included. I would really like to see Angelica Houston make an appearance. I know that's extremely unlikely. She said she wouldn't do any more Addams Family, or she said she wouldn't play Morticia again without Raul Julia, and I 100% agree. They are my favorite. Gomez and Morticia, no one will ever be better than them. Which also has no bearing on Luis Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones. I judge them individually. But I would like to see her come back and play somebody else the way we have with Christopher Lloyd and Christina Ricci, who also makes an appearance, but we'll talk about her later. Fester. Love that we see flashbacks of him taking Wednesday to bank robberies and like having her drive the getaway car. I'm not surprised, but also, Uncle, what kind of example are you setting for the children? As an auntie, I would never rob a bank. But as an auntie, I would never. But it's Fester, so not surprised. He is down for whatever. Wednesday needs his help infiltrating the asylum, and he's like, you got it, kid. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's getting myself committed. What I could have lived without was him and this lunch lady, because it kind of grossed me out. I think it's supposed to be a little bit gross, but could have done without that. Completely unnecessary. Thank you very much. But I had seen something. Did I deep dive it? No. But I saw something about a Fester spinoff that's been in the works since like 2023. And I think that show would be insane. And I would immediately watch it because we know Fester gets up to some crazy nonsense. Now, of course, whenever the Addams family is around, we also have Thing and Lurch. I love them both. And I love the fact that they acknowledge the treatment of at least Thing in this season. Because they always say, oh, you're like family. But they've never really treated him like family, even in the movies. And they make a point to show you all the time where he's kind of utilized as a servant or a tool or something that wouldn't really say, I feel bad for them. They need a little bit more care and respect, I think. I liked that this season tied back into season 1 and that they included Christina Ricci again, and that the hide is, of course, there is now a hide out running around loose, and it sure did a number on Wednesday. But if you watched the sneak peek at the end of the last episode, no worries. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Be excellent to each other. Bye.